Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. According to legend, in the year 1421 AD, a major incident occurred at the Yongle Imperial Palace, where nearly 3,000 palace women were tortured and killed, turning the Ming Imperial Palace into a hell on earth. Emperor Qing of the Ming Dynasty, Zhu Di, can be said to be the only figure in history to challenge the might of a nation with the power of a prince, ultimately succeeding and ascending to the throne. His success was filled with a sense of luck but also carried profound practical significance. However, this emperor was highly suspicious and violent, and the brutal manner in which nearly 3,000 palace women were tortured and executed pushed his cruelty to its extreme, rendering it inhumane. It is said that this massacre stemmed from the death of a beloved concubine. In 1408, King Taejong of Korea presented several beautiful women to Zhu Di, among whom was a lady surnamed Quan who captured Zhu Di's favor and was quickly elevated to the rank of imperial concubine. At that time, Zhu Di's Empress Su had passed away, and this imperial concubine soon wielded significant influence in the palace, becoming the highest-ranking concubine. Moreover, Zhu Di kept her close by his side at all times, never leaving her side. In 1410, Zhu Di personally led an army of 500,000 to campaign against the Mongols. Despite this military campaign, Zhu Di did not forget to bring along favored concubines, with the imperial concubine included. Even during warfare, Zhu Di ensured their presence, indicating his strong attachment to the imperial concubine. This military campaign resulted in a resounding victory for the Ming forces. However, upon their triumphant return, they received devastating news: the imperial concubine had fallen seriously ill. Initially attributed to the hardships of the journey and catching a cold, her sudden demise at the age of only 19 came as a shock. The History of Ming records that the imperial concubine was not only beautiful and talented but also deeply loved by the emperor. However, these attributes were not the focus. The harem was replete with women of beauty and talent. The crucial point was that she resembled someone else, someone Zhu Di loved but could not have, the younger sister of Empress Su, Su Miaojin. In 1407, Empress Su passed away. Zhu Di summoned Su Miaojin, expressing his affection. Su Miaojin, with dignity, politely declined his advances. Yet, the more unattainable something seemed, the harder it was to let go. Thus, Zhu Di wrote another love letter, expressing his willingness to make her empress if she entered the palace. Unexpectedly, instead of a beautiful woman, Zhu Di received a letter, a rejection letter, from Su Miaojin titled The Refusal of Emperor Yongle's Proposal. The letter primarily conveyed three things. Firstly, it expressed Su Miaojin's temperament. Despite being born into nobility, she had no desire for the life within the palace's secluded gardens, preferring to be like a lone grass on the mountain, weathering life's ups and downs alone. Secondly, it politely declined the proposal. Lastly, it declared her intention to become a nun. Henceforth, she wished to lead a reclusive life, accompanied by the serenity of ancient lamps and Buddha statues, quietly spending her remaining days. From this, Su Miaojin emerged as a woman of strong character and unwavering integrity. Her rejection of Zhu Di's proposal was mainly due to her disdain for Zhu Di's usurpation of the throne. Su Miaojin's personality was clearly distinct from the docile women of the palace, which greatly piqued Zhu Di's desire to conquer. However, Su Miaojin's decision to become a nun left Zhu Di with no recourse. During that time, respect and awe for Buddhism were paramount, and even an emperor could not act recklessly for the sake of a woman. This unattainable feeling left Zhu Di deeply regretful. Amidst this situation, the imperial concubine, who bore a striking resemblance to Su Miaojin, appeared, providing solace to Zhu Di's wounded heart. Yet, just as he was beginning to find joy again, the imperial concubine passed away. This was a tormenting blow. Unable to accept this sudden loss, Zhu Di sought to uncover the truth behind the imperial concubine's premature death. When Zhu Di was at his wit's end, a palace maid named Jia Lu secretly informed him that she knew the real reason behind the imperial concubine's death. It was orchestrated by Lu Fei, a eunuch, and a silversmith who poisoned her. Upon learning this, Zhu Di flew into a rage, indiscriminately executing the eunuch and silversmith, and subjecting Lu Fei to a month of branding with a hot iron, ultimately torturing her to death. 8 years after Lu Fei's death, someone accused Jia Lu and another maid, Yu Shi, of having intimate relations with eunuchs. Such an accusation was grave at the time because during Zhu Yuanzhang's reign, it was mandated that eunuchs and maids found in such relationships should be skinned alive. This law remained in effect during Zhu Di's reign until subsequent emperors gradually abolished it. Fearing exposure, Jia Lu and Yu Shi committed suicide. The situation was bizarre. Zhu Di, seeking more truths, ordered a thorough investigation. Investigators, aided by palace maids close to Jia Lu and Yu Shi, unraveled the plot. It turned out that Lu Fei was framed, not the perpetrator of the imperial concubine's death. Within the palace, especially the harem, where deceit and jealousy were rife, Jia Lu and Lu Fei, initially entering the palace together due to similar surnames, sought to forge a bond. However, Lu Fei's aloofness angered Jia Lu, leading to her false accusation and subsequent tragic death. Zhu Di, upon learning this, was incensed and demanded further scrutiny. As more people connected to Jia Lu were implicated, the number swelled to 2,800. Zhu Di ordered the execution of anyone associated with Jia Lu. This case sent shockwaves through the harem. The records of the Joseon dynasty vividly describe the dismal scene within the palace during that time, with executioners wielding knives, slicing flesh from the palace women's bodies. Zhu Di personally witnessed these executions, unmoved by the cries of agony, until all 2,800 palace women were cruelly put to death. Thus, this case, recorded in the records of the Joseon dynasty, concluded within the palace. However, this massacre of palace women raises numerous doubts from various angles. Firstly, such a significant event is absent from Chinese historical records, not even mentioned in the History of Ming, compiled during the Qing Dynasty. This omission may be due to the Qing Dynasty's negative portrayal of Zhu Di and his reign. Furthermore, at that time, many foreign envoys were stationed in Beijing. If such a massacre had occurred, it would surely have been noted in international records. Secondly, the records of the Joseon dynasty placed the event in 1421, just 3 years before Zhu Di's death. During these 3 years, Zhu Di was primarily engaged in warfare against the Mongols, leaving little time for such a grisly affair. Moreover, executing 2,800 palace women in the manner described, prolonged torture, would have taken an inordinate amount of time. For instance, during the Ming Dynasty, the eunuch Lu Jin was executed in this manner, enduring over 4,000 cuts over 3 days before death. How could 2,800 women be subjected to such treatment in a short span? Lastly, although Zhu Di had a temperament similar to his father Zhu Yuanzhang, being somewhat ruthless, most of his actions were aimed at maintaining political stability. Massacring innocent palace women would only alienate his subjects, giving him no reason to do so. During his reign, Zhu Di personally led campaigns, compiled the Yongle Encyclopedia, dispatched Zheng He on voyages, and ushered in the Yongle Golden Age, displaying wisdom as a ruler. Therefore, this purported massacre of palace women during the Yongle era is likely a fabrication. This is History and Culture channel. Like and subscribe are the biggest help and support for us. Thank you everyone. See you next time.